This map was so good to us last week in this exact same match, and I'm hoping we get another banger on it here. We are in the best of 3, the semifinals of the KSL. Spawning in the lower right-hand corner of Golden Aura, we have Dragon Kitesy Gaming's Dark. And his opponent in the upper left-hand corner, his teammate on old DKZ, it is Oliveira, the world champion and the reigning KSL champion, too, as he was able to take the win last week. Won, I believe it was in the semifinals over Dark, and then took down Solar in the finals, if I'm not mistaken. Honestly, Oliveira looked just insanely jacked last week. He looked so good. And it was so sick to see him playing at that level that won him the world championships. It was the biggest upset in StarCraft history, maybe in esports history, was Oliveira winning Katowice this year. But when you see performances from him like that in other tournaments, even just, you know, KSL, not the biggest tournament in the world, just a nice weekly we got going on here. But Oliveira showed up and he played out of his mind last week. And it's so cool to see that it wasn't like just a fluke, right? He's not the most consistent player to have in the top of any tournament, but he's always got it in him. It's always in there, that ability to play at that level. And I love to see that. One of his big strengths, which I just really enjoy watching him because of it, is I feel like Oliveira plays at a bit of a different tempo than a lot of other players, particularly for our purposes here, a lot of the other Korean Terrans. I feel like Oliveira plays very differently than the Korean Terrans, so it can make it very difficult for players who are used to a certain play style and used to, okay, the Hellions hit now and then the Marines hit now and then this hits now. But if you hit when the other player is not really expecting it, you can catch them off guard. StarCraft is a very rhythm-based game. I think that's, I don't know if we talk about it a lot, but there's a reason that a lot of our best players love to listen to music while they play, right? Like, Raynor listens to music while he plays, and he gets really into it. And there's a reason. There's, especially for Zerg, there is a certain rhythm to the play that I think is really, really important. And if you can throw off your opponent's rhythm, it's just such a powerful thing. I don't know that Oliveira necessarily does it on purpose, but he definitely does do that. And there's a few players like that. I think Gumiho can be like that as well. I don't know. It's a really interesting thing that happens in StarCraft, that it's not always just about like who can split the Marines the best, whose macro is the best. There's a lot of other aspects to this game, especially like there's the human aspect, right? We're all just people. Even Dark, even Serral, they're just people. Maru, he's a people. I think. MaxPax, questionable. But there's a human aspect to it that on any day you can play better or worse. We've seen great performances from players that we don't always expect it from. Oliveira at the World Finals, of course. And we've seen not great performances from some of the best players in the world. It just changes day to day. I love StarCraft for that. Really shows you how a player's doing, how they're feeling on that day. Especially some of the more emotional players. Been watching Creator in the GSL, very emotional guy, and you can really feel it in his play a lot of times. All right, what's going on in this game? It's very exciting so far. Oliveira has been poking and prodding and has successfully gotten a cancel on a Spore Crawler. It's a Hellion Raven opener here for Oliveira, which is kind of interesting. But then it's going to be into Stim and more barracks. This is all off a 3cc build. Quite a few Hellions coming out, though. Makes me wonder if there's going to be like a Hellbat push with this, because I could see that happening. Roach is coming out for Dark already, though the Queen's holding on for now. Yeah, we're very macro focused. No crazy pressure coming out of either player for the time being. Just your normal poking and prodding from the Terran. Zerg trying to hold him off. Trying not to lose any drones. Dark already up to 67. As he takes that 4th base, just cruising along. The Raven's really nice because it means you don't need to spend scans to kill the creep tumors here. Oliveira just getting some kills on those creep tumors for free. I did not get to catch Gumiho versus Hero. I'm sure that was an absolute banger. Honestly, I was a little sad that Classic ended up not showing up to play. Spoilers for current state of GSL. So if you're not up to date on GSL, mute for like 30 seconds. But a lot of times when Classic and Gumiho sign up, they end up playing each other inadvertently. They play each other all the time in like rounds of 8s and KSLs. And I really was hoping we'd get that because that's going to be a round of 4 match in GSL, and I wanted a preview of it. We didn't quite get that, but I'm sure Gumiho versus Hero was really sick. That is one I wanted to catch. But I know that you cast that, Mr. Dave Testa, so the viewers at home have a place where they can go watch Gumiho versus Hero from this week. Or if they don't want our annoying voices, I mean, you could always cast these games yourself. Do you think you have what it takes to cast some high-level StarCraft? Well, I'll tell you what. You sign up for that Patreon, $5 a month, you will have more replays than you can cover of the best Koreans you've seen. It's actually one of the ways I started getting into casting was Alima League, who is essentially the precursor to the KSL in a lot of ways, where we got the idea to start a Patreon, and they used to run a weekly Korean-based StarCraft event with a Patreon-funded. Anyways, they would give replays away, $5 a month. Again, it was a good idea, and I liked it, so we did that. But I used to do a lot of casting of Alima League replays back when I didn't have a lot of events to cover. So I would recommend checking that out if you wanted to get into some casting, even if it was just for fun. One of the ways I started. It's actually funny. One of my like oldest, I don't know if it's a YouTube video or like Twitch VODs that I have saved, was an Alima League cast. And I remember I had just the mustache in that too. And I'm rocking just the mustache now. It's ironic it comes back to you. How the mustache comes back. There's still not a lot of action in this game. I mean, Oliveira is kind of poking and prodding, but the trades are so low. We're under 500 resources lost 8 minutes into this game. This is very passive. Oliveira is finally now going for a big push, but Dark has had so much time. And man, you do not want to give Dark 8 minutes of free time. I am a little worried for Oliveira. We have seen his pushes work very well in this situation, but Adrenal's on the way. There's Vipers out already. That's a big anti-armor missile, but the blinding clouds are huge here as Dark pushes in. He's going to bile down these tanks. The Marines doing their best, but the Roaches and Raptors just going to push forward. The Lings will force the lift up, and Oliveira's push did not work. Dark holds solidly with a massive army still here underneath these medevacs, stopping the drop-offs. And I think Dark just moves across the map. I feel like he just A-move here. He's even got Ultras on the way. Yeah, I think Oliveira just gave Dark way too long. The Hellions didn't commit. The Marines never committed. Dark didn't take any damage. And Dark with no damage, he just techs like a madman. And now he's going to have these full energy Vipers again. He's got Adrenal. He's got Adrenal before 2-2. His Chitinous is almost done. Well, that's about half. He's going to have Ultras out. I don't know if Oliveira is going to be able to hold a maxed Dark. Trying to dive in on top of him. Dark is just going to be able to throw units at him. He's up to 5 bases. Doesn't have a huge worker count, so Dark might have to be a little bit careful here not to overcommit. But he is just going to go in. The Baneling smashing through the wall on the high ground, getting a handful of SCVs. And also supply blocking Oliveira. That's incredibly annoying. Drops the big supply depot here right at the front. Then Dark just rotates around. He's going to try to hit on this side now. Planetary and 2 tanks here are going to make this a little more difficult, but Oliveira unsieging, not realizing there's a push here. Oh, no, and they might circumnavigate each other a little bit. The Baneling's going to spot this coming, but Oliveira just out of position to deal with this. Another big anti-armor missile going down on these units. That wasn't maybe the best fight for Dark. His supply drops very significantly, particularly his army supply dropped way down there. But he kills 15 SCVs and kills the 4th base, putting Oliveira in a terrible economic position right now. He needs to just push across the map. It's 3 bases to 5 with a 6th on the way here for the Zerg. And Oliveira kind of just has one shot, one opportunity to bust through this. Dark is waiting with a flank. It's Ultras, Roaches, Lings. And I think this is going to be a very painful fight here for Oliveira. Let's see if Dark can get it done. He dives in on top. The Marines are pulling back, and it looks like Oliveira is going to be able to hold this position. The 3 siege tanks doing a great job. Oliveira staying off creep. Dark's going to have to pull everything back up to the high ground. That went a lot better for Oliveira than I expected. And Dark's economy is not as good as you kind of would expect a Zerg at this stage of the game to be. He's going to go for a big counterattack. There's not nearly enough here for Oliveira to hold on against this many 2-2 Atrina Lings. But Dark's going to engage at the same time. Where are the spellcasters? Where are the Vipers? They're gone. Oh, God. Oliveira is really pushing. He's got nothing back at home, so he has to get game-ending damage done with this push, because he is just ravaged on the other side of the map. I mean, it's only a matter of time, honestly, before Dark breaks through this wall, even, it feels like. But if Dark can hold on, he will be just fine. He's coming back in. The Ultra from the backside. Biles taking down the siege tanks. The Liberator doing the best it can, but it's not gonna be enough. And Dark just has a little too much. He pushes through and takes game number 1. It just felt like Oliveira gave him too much breathing room early on. And while that final push did feel very strong, Dark was very smart to be patient about it. Just tried to take the good fights, retreat when it wasn't going super well. Didn't end up throwing that game. And the counterattack with the Lings just really sealed the deal there. I think the Vipers must have gotten killed at some point. Those were crucial units that he ended up losing. And he's able to hold on anyways. All right. Game number 2 coming up now. Hey, have a good night, Skitoo. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate it. And let's see if we get a little bit more aggression from our Terran. I think that's what the doctor has ordered. But we'll find out. I'm certainly no doctor. I'm, like, at best, like the guy who cleans out the bedpans, you know? That would be, like, my role at the hospital. Maybe, like, the creepy night janitor who gets killed when the hospital is haunted, you know, in the horror movie. That could be me. I think I could rock that. But game number 2, we're going to Alcyone, and spawning in the lower left-hand corner, we have Dragon Kitesy Gaming's Dark. Taking a nice 1-0 lead here. He's got to be feeling pretty good about that game 1. His opponent in the upper right-hand corner might need to change things up. It is Oliveira, the current world champion. Dark, the 2019 BlizzCon winner, world champion. Lots of world champions going on. I'm gonna have to come up with a new title for this video. I can't use the, like, world champ battle title again. What do I call this? I'm bad at naming YouTube videos. Like, some of them come out well, but I think it's just, like, pure happenstance. Gotta work on my titles. The hardest thing about titles for me is usually I cast, like, a tournament like this, like the EBT Cups, and then I release the YouTube videos over time. But because I'm not casting and then immediately putting the YouTube video out, or at least immediately working on it, I kind of forget what happens in the games. I have to like go back and watch some of the VOD. Because I'm like, what was this game again? Oh, that's right. This happened and this happened. Gotta figure out what is actually going on, how to title it. Somebody in the YouTube comments the other day was like, could you not spoil what happens in the title? It's like, oh, I'm sorry. I needed the clickbait. It's hard. Clickbait is hard. You know, it feels like it should be easy. But it's hard to get that right balance of clickbait without being too clickbait, you know? Now, Dark went for an early pull. He's going to sneak in here with some lings. Be kind of annoying. There is one Marine out in the SCVs. The boys are coming to support that Marine. Support our troops. That's the SCVs. What, you run out of Marines? Well, butter my biscuit. In the rear with the gear. I could be a SCV voice actor. Stormgate, hit me up. Frost Giant, hit me up if you need some voice acting. I got you. I can do all sorts of accents. You just let me know what you need. You need a bad Australian accent? Dude, I got you. You need a bad German accent? Easy. Done. Bad Irish accent? No problem. I can do them all. Interesting, we have a Cyclone here at Oliveira. He might be worried about a follow-up Roach Warren. The Reaper is going to scout the Evo chamber coming up. And is going to see there is, in fact, no Roach Warren to be worried about. So this is a nice follow-up scout for Oliveira. Ling speed's done, but I don't think there's any Lings out. Yeah, there's 5 Lings out. We're heading across the map. Okay. We're going to get one SCV. Oliveira's hiding up in the main base. Why did the bracket command not change? This is so rude. The bracket, if you're in Twitch chat, contains spoilers. Be aware before you look. Might be too late for you, I'm sorry. Let's hear the BC impression. Ooh, Battle Cruiser Operational. What else does he say? It's been a while since I played BC. Man, I need to play Terran again. Let's play some more StarCraft. Who called in the fleet? Right? I think he says that. I used to play BC. Back in the old days when I played Terran. BC Widowmine was my jam. Oh, that was so much fun to play. I feel like my MMR is a bit higher now, even with not playing in a while than it was then. I don't think it would work as well. Ah, but it was so much fun. So much fun. I know how annoying of a composition it is to play against. I hit it a couple times when I was Zerg, and I was like, God damn it, I can't be mad about this. I can't be mad. It's like getting cannon rushed when you yourself cannon rush. It's like, well, I can't really be upset, can I? I deserve this. Oh, it is the worst in TVT. Yeah. TVT BC Widowmine is awful. Well, Oliveira is coming in here, and this one is a Hellbat push. 2 medevacs, a Cyclone, and a handful of Marines even. Oliveira is trying to kill Dark. I think he might be able to, guys. There is just Queens here right now. Where are the units? There are Lings counterattacking, but the Hellion reinforcements are good. The wall is strong. I don't know if Oliveira can just win right here. Oh, man, maybe he can, though. I don't know. That is 7 Hellbats with 2 medevacs healing them. The medevacs getting targeted down. Oh, my God, but those Hellbats just doing so much damage. The medevacs finally fall, but that means that these units are going to get the kills on the Queens. The Cyclone finishes her off. Oh my God, and the Liberator siege is up. Now these drones cannot mine. This one Queen gonna do her duty over here. It looks like Dark is gonna hold. This is so painful for him, though, losing all of these queens. And the Hellions dive back in. The Liberator now as well, getting a few extra kills. Oh, this is so annoying for Dark to deal with. Dark has lost 8 queens. If we look straight up at the trades, it's so in favor of Oliveira. Even as these Hellbats look like they're going to go down, it's so much lost mining time, too. Huge lead here for Oliveira, who is smart enough not to try to take this third at the same time. He knows that Dark is about to have a bunch of units, and the counterattack is imminent. And if Oliveira just holds here, he's going to be in a solid spot. He's got more production coming up. He's going to be able to get into a lot of Marines very shortly. And that's going to allow him to take this third base, but he's not risking it for the biscuit just yet. Oh, is Dark just starting up a lair? That's brutal, man. Dark loves to tech super quick. A lot of times we'll see him being attacked, and he's got that tech rolling behind it while he defends, but not in this game. That attack was too aggressive. It hit him too hard. Takes a big economic hit, but a big queen hit as well, and just a huge delay on the tech. Dark does have +1 melee. That's going to help him out quite a bit. His +1 carapace is on the way too. But until that Baneness is done and he's got Bane speed coming out, I feel like it's not going to make too much of a difference. Oliveira's trying to come out here with some Widowmine drops. He's got one on the top side, one on the bottom side. Is he going to boost in and drop these mines? Yes, he is. They're going to hit some queens. They kill 1 queen. The medevac does go down, though. Let's see if this one can get some damage on the other side. I still like Oliveira's position here. As he gets into a hefty Marine count, he's going to be on Marine Mine. I feel like he does need to get out on the map fairly soon. But it actually looks like Dark, who's up 76 workers right now, might be considering going for a big push of his own. A little hard to say. He's got 20 lings on the way. But far, these mine drops have not really gotten anything done. Great defense from Dark. Oh, what are these Overlords doing up here? I don't know, but the Liberators are going to kill them. It's not often you see a Liberator kill an Overlord, but he's going to get that kill. One more OV up there. Come on, Oliveira. Get the kill. No. Oh, my God. This Overlord's going to live. All right, Oliveira finally pushing through the middle. Those Liberators looking to be annoying on the backside of these bases. The Sport Crawlers are in great positions for that, though. But it's all a distraction. Ooh, Widow Mines. Whew. Dangerously close to friendly fire there. But Oliveira picks up, gets out with at least a few Marines. But Dark holds on. That looks like a Liberator maybe died over here. Yeah, these Liberators just not getting anything done whatsoever. Great defense again from Dark. Oliveira doing a good job cleaning up the creep spread, but this is what he really needs is continued pressure. And now he is going to hit over here, and I think Dark is going to get an inkling of what's coming. He sees these units starting to pile up on the top side. Looks like he was going for a counterattack, but he's got to pull his units back. This is a lot of stuff coming in from Oliveira. Look at the army supply, 95 to 78. 2-2. It's getting close here for Dark, but it is not here yet. Widowmine doing a lot of friendly fire. Look at how low some of these Marines are. Can the Banelings finish them off? Oh, they're getting some decent connections. Is it enough, though? Dark supply dropping like crazy. He does have some Hydras to fall back on, but this small group of Marines standing pretty strong here. Looks like the Hydras and Queens will be enough to push Oliveira back for now. But Oliveira has a lot more stuff coming through the middle of the map. Just Bio rallying across as he takes his 4th base. Worker count is even for both players, and Oliveira, he's just up 30 army supply. This has bought time for Dark to get +2 melee finished, but he has no missile attack upgrades for these Hydras. They don't have their speed upgrade yet either. That's going to make it really hard for Dark to defend both sides, as Oliveira's got that multi-prong coming in right now, coming in hot. Ooh, lifts up into the medevacs. All the lings will go down to that mine. Meanwhile, the Marines over here fighting against basically just the Queens. Doing a pretty good job targeting them down, but he is going to have to pick up and get out of there. Just a few Marines left over. Ooh, the Hydra's on their own. Oliveira starting to push through on this side. No Ling reinforcements. And Oliveira, he's got another push coming. Oh, hold on. Dark. 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 No, Dark. Oh, he wasn't watching. Oliveira pushing through down here, distracting him. And the Baneling landmine does not connect. It had such an opportunity to do so. Maybe if that connected, this game would go differently. But it's looking pretty good for our Terran right now, who continues to push through the middle. And without a lot of Banes, without a lot of Lings here. Oh, look at these Marauders out front just holding the line like some linebackers. This is the offensive line here. As football fans, we got the quarterbacks, or the Marines. Banelings connecting a little bit, but Dark needs more than that. Oliveira pushes through, and that is looking like GG. As Oliveira, the world champion, takes game number 2 and ties up the series 1-1. Dark absolutely getting brapped on in game 2. It's kind of funny. I feel like the games are kind of one-sided. But like game 1 was one-sided for Dark. Game 2 felt a bit more one-sided for Oliveira. It was a very powerful Hellbat push to start things off that I think put Dark in just such a tough spot. And because Oliveira had just had solid macro behind it, was starting to get into a lot of Marines, he had a fantastic follow-up. And that brings us to a game 3. We're all tied up.
He's a man, but he's also a
and
chicken.
Spawning in the upper right-hand corner as Skatu gifts a sub to none other than the Brat Man himself, Death SC. In the upper right-hand corner of Equilibrium, we have Dragon Kitesy Gaming's Dark. His opponent in the upper left-hand corner. Sorry, I was muscle memory there. We have Dragon Kitesy's Oliveira. Equilibrium, one of the very few maps where we have upper left and upper right spawns. Hoping for an exciting game 3 here. Equilibrium, it's I don't want to say it's a big map. That's kind of a silly thing to say. Honestly, this whole map pool is pretty big, pretty wide open. But this map in particular feels very wide. The middle of the map, there's so much space here of just, it's just space. It's just like empty space, pathways going all over the place. I hadn't really noticed how big this map was. In my mind, I compare it to Year Zero, but I have a feeling it's quite a bit bigger than that. Just a lot more area in the middle of the map to fight. You have these pathways up top. The rocks also helping to split the map a bit, so it can be really easy to miss your opponent's army. Different pathways through the middle and through the bottom even. It's a very large map, which I feel like usually bodes very well for the Zerg. But in general, I think it's just better for the more mobile army, which is, I mean, it's usually the Zerg. So I think this is quite a good map for Dark. A little interesting to see that Oliveira let this one through on a best of 3 against somebody like Dark. I feel like I wouldn't want to play a Zerg on this map. Yeah, and I see you saying that the colors are washed out. This map is just very gray. It's certainly one of the most monotonous or like monotone maps we have. It really does feel like it's just very, yeah, it does feel very washed out. I actually noticed that when I make thumbnails and I take screen grabs from certain games, I'll be like, ooh, this map isn't good for screen grabs. Like, this map isn't good for thumbnails because the units don't really pop on it quite as much. For whatever reason, I think it's a lighting thing. I feel like it's like the way the lighting works or something. The units just don't stand out as well on this map. But I have definitely noticed that. I think this, while I like the shape of this map, in general, I like having a map like this in the pool. And Year Zero has given us some great games. We have had some good games on this map. I don't know that it's my favorite map. This might be my least favorite map of the pool so far. Partially because of how gray it is, but also just because of how open the middle of the map is. Just feels like there's too much space here. It's crazy. Like, I am fully zoomed out right now. And look at just how much space there is without any bases. It's so difficult to find a map with this much space in the middle of it. We'll see what the players end up doing with it. I mean, obviously, quick 3cc here from Oliveira. So far, not a lot coming out of either of them. Dark is known for going for some cheeky roach pushes early on, but I think the cyclone play has really made that a lot harder. Yeah, man, there's so much space on this map. All right, it's a lot of Hellions coming out of Oliveira. I guess this is probably pretty similar to the game 1 build he did. I feel like there was a lot of Hellions in that game as well. The Hellions are a smart choice. Obviously, they're very quick units, so they can cover the distance on this map really nicely. Can also punish the Zerg, who's just going heavy Ling Queen. Might be able to sneak by the Queens if he wants to. I will say it's one thing that I notice Oliveira doesn't do very often is dive his Hellions in and try to get big damage done with them. But as I say that, he's got the medevac. He's going to try to drop into the main base. Dark doesn't really have any Lings out right now, so it's going to be up to the Queens to stop this. But now he's got the Hellions down here as well, trying to draw the Queens out front. And he is going to try to find a weak point. The Hellions dropping in just out of vision range. And Oliveira is going to be able to get a few drones. Great drone pull from Dark, sending a few out front just to try to buy time to let the rest get away. But now Oliveira is getting in down here. Ooh, the 4 Queens down here, though. Going to be able to hold on at least a little bit against this. A lot of drones starting to go down. Whoa, some big hits. Oh, baby, the barbecue. I can smell it. I can smell it from here. The barbecue drones. 11 drones going down. Some in the main, some in the third. The Hellions will all die. And this is why we don't always see the Terrans sack their Hellions, and why we kind of like when they don't. Because now he doesn't have any map control, especially on a map this big. So Oliveira is going to be a bit in the dark. He doesn't have a ton of Marines out yet. So if the Lings decide to counterattack, they could get some damage done at this third base. I don't think this third base can mine quite yet. The SCVs are just going to pull away. The tank will help. Oh, looks like Stim is done too. So Oliveira will be able to hold on to this third. Death showing off the absolute best emote in chat right now. That emote, I've considered subbing to you for that emote, Death, even though I don't think I've watched your stream in about 3 years. That emote's so good, I just want to sub for it. The barbecue drone, I mean, it's a hot one. It's a hot one. Dark's going to be the first to get to 1-1. I don't think there's going to be a chance to really fight before Oliveira gets there, though. But that bodes well for Dark as the upgrades continue on. Can start up his 2-2 pretty quickly here. Getting into Burrow and Bane speed. And that Infestation Pit. We know Dark loves to get to Hive as quick as possible. We saw that in Game 1. And again, on a big map like this, I think it's going to be hard for Oliveira to really put too much pressure onto Dark. That creep spread is already getting pretty far out there. The big difference between this game and Game 1 is because those Hellions got sacked, they're not out here clearing creep right now, and Dark just had, what, a minute and a half of free creep time. And that's just so much on a map like this with all of these active tumors. That's a lot of creep spread coming out of the Zerg, and the Marines are going to try to clear a little bit of it and push it back a little bit, but there's so much space to cover. This is why when we talk about big open maps, we talk about how good they are for Zerg. It's so difficult to cover every possible creep avenue. And as long as the Zerg has most of them covered, it makes their life so much easier. They have so much lead up time to knowing when an attack is coming, building units, sending counterattack. And this is a perfectly timed counterattack right as the 4th base gets there, but right before it's a planetary. like a 30-second window there for Dark, and he nails it. Gets 4 kills. Delays mining at this base. Just gets out of there before he loses anything. Free damage. And his creep is starting to hit the midway point. Right here in the middle of the map. This is suddenly feeling like a very passive game from Oliveira. And that, again, feels like it's just going to be very good for Dark, whose hive is about to finish as we hit the 9-minute mark. And while Oliveira does have that 4th base now up and running, he's got a 5th CC on the way. If he can get to that ultra late game, I think he could have a much better shot, but he's got to get into those ghosts. He has to get into like a heavy ghost tank composition. Get his defenses up. He's got to take these bases. I feel like you kind of need this gold planetary and just positions out in the middle of the map here, closer to the middle of the map. But he's not quite there yet. Dark is ahead quite a bit of supply. He is fully maxed, and he might start getting the pressure on. Oh, as Oliveira is not watching for a second and just loses that drop, and that's going to be the key sign here for Dark. He says, all right, it's time to go. Just killed a bunch of Marines out on the map. Nothing really to worry about back at home. And he's going to start trying to blast through here. Oliveira trying to set the wall up, but the Lings are getting in on top of everything. Where is the bio? There's just these tanks all alone against this many Lings. And that is just going to be that. 10 minutes of a game, but it felt like a lot of lead up to just this final swarm. And Dark got to play his own game in games 1 and game 3. A little bit of pressure from Oliveira, but not a ton of damage. And we get to see why you have to be an aggressive Terran, especially against somebody like Dark, man. He is so happy to just tech right the hell up. And Oliveira, the only one he won was when he did a Hellbat attack and was able to get that early damage done, get a lead, put Dark in a bad position, and then just keep on pressuring, keep that macro going. I think that's the kind of Oliveira we need to see, and that's the kind of Oliveira that wins world championships, but not today. Today it's Dark coming in for the dub.